Hi, my name is Anil Bajpayee. Welcome to Education Tattva. As you know, we are working on AWS series, and today we are going to cover a very important topic, that is, what are the key and essential things about AWS Console. So let's have a look. I've written this article on Medium, and this will be available for your reference anytime. So the link of this I'll be putting in the description as well. Now, what are the key or important things about AWS Console? So if you are to start learning about cloud computing, or you want to start with AWS uh, Console or the AWS Tutorials, so the first thing that you need to know is AWS Console, and for that, how to set up your AWS Console. I have already created one video. You can check this out. Other than that, how to access AWS. So there are multi-platform availability for AWS Console. One, you can access through web. So I'll just paste the link on it. And then you can also download their iOS or Android application from their respective app stores. And obviously, when comparing to any other application, web always gives you the more features. The reason is number of area availability and number of features can be obviously accommodated more. So that is in the case with AWS as well. You should explore web first before going to iOS or Android. So that is where we are going to cover what about the web part. And then there are different sections in AWS Console that I'm going to talk about. But let me just quickly show you. After providing your username, you need to provide the captcha for login, and then your password. After this is done, so there are a couple of sections that you need to look at. One is this AWS services part. These are some of the most frequent used services. Then there is a detailed page of these services which you can also open through this pop-up window, and you will see that there are a lot of varieties of services categorized into different categories. And then they have a couple of automated workflows, or we can say simple wizard. So these are some of the wizard through which you can do things really quick. And then AWS itself provides you exhaustive list of tutorials that you can go through, and you will understand much more things in detail. So it's always advisable, not in terms of AWS, but for other technology platforms, you should always go for their video tutorials or the documentation. If you understand their documentation, no one can teach you better than that, because these are the product owners. And for AWS specifically, they have created a very good documentation, that is for sure. Okay, so talking about what are the 6 essentials things that we're gonna cover. What are the AWS services, build a solution, learn to build, account settings, billing and configurations, and lastly AWS regions. So AWS services, as we talk about, is available through this option, right? Or you can go through this option. Now if we extend any of these options, you will see that these are categorized into different categories as such. So for compute, which is the most basic demand of any application, where your series of executions or instructions are executed for any software or application, so that is with the help of this compute services. So EC2, Lambda, Elastic Beanstalks are some of the most frequent used services, though there are other services like Batch, Lightshell, etc. as well. Then containers. For scalability perspective, containers are the first thing that usually people think about, and they have their Kubernetes services, container services. In one of the example, I also used ECS. This is pretty good. And then storage. The storage is, again, if you want to store something, if you are running an application or program, you definitely need a storage. So they provide all necessary storage in this category. S3 is the most preferred choice for any individual or programmer. Then on the database side, they have different kind of databases. They have all the flavor of Oracle, MySQL, etc. But these are self-managed. But if you go for AWS managed services, you can go for DynamoDB or other databases available here. DynamoDB obviously is much cheaper because this is AWS product and they are promoting it. So you will definitely get a benefit out of it. Then they have machine learning, management and governance. So they have lots of categories. We are going to talk about at least 70 to 80% in this series. So stick to us, stick to with this course and you will learn a lot, that is for sure. So let's get back to the topic. We covered almost these things and this is the look. Build a solution. So sometimes as a beginner, you may not be sure how to quickly work on your POC or the project. So they have provided you a good template or number of templates and the automated workflows. So that actually helps you to build your solution or the process really quick. And for example, let's just talk about launch a virtual machine. You are not sure like what all services will be used, but you know, virtual machine is something where I can log in and do my work. That's where within 2 to 3 minutes, you should be able to spin up a virtual machine using EC2 instance. So EC2 is again their compute services. Then building a web application, that is again very quick. You can do this within 6 minutes and they finally do it with Elastic Beanstalk. Elastic Beanstalk is also based on EC2. Then register a domain. So after you go for AWS, you need not to go for any other outside services, no GoDaddy, no HostGator, nothing else. You can just simply use their services, spin up and configure, and you can make your site up and running, ready to host millions of users at any given point of time. Also, as I mentioned at the beginning, AWS provides exhaustive list of tutorials and documentation, so you can feel free to reach out to this AWS console and start learning on different tutorials and the documentation available almost for all the services. Then account setting. Account setting is very important in terms of controlling number of preferences, like how the billing information should look like, where should you receive these emails for free tier usage, and if it is about to exhaust. And then also AWS government cloud, which is a different reason, and this is for very particular specific use cases, mostly for US military kind of a scenario. So for that you can go for creating your login account from the account setting from any of, and there are a lot of documentation required. So not sure, like I have not tried it, but this account settings page you can use for terminating your account. So once, as you know, like AWS is providing you free tier on your email ID, which means after the amount is exhausted on that particular email ID, you may want to continue basis on your reimbursement capacity from the organization or your own investment perspective. Or if you are owning a business, definitely you don't want to switch from there. But from trial version, if you think that this is going to impact your pocket, so you can pay their remaining bills and you can very well close this after following their some of the terms and guidelines. Then billing and configuration. This is very important. AWS provides you all necessary meters and measures so that the billing should not cross more than your pocket limit. So for that, they have provided you necessary watch things where you can have a view how the prediction of your billing looks like. So for that, you can simply go to their billing section, and then some of the best practices where you can set up the budget, you can set up CloudWatch to get the notifications for any of the usage of your component stack. And also it is advisable. Sometimes people usually ask what is the importance of creating a tag when you are spinning up a component or services. The tag is very much important when you want to configure it for getting the details how the usage is going. Like you may be like using hundreds of services, but you may need to understand which top service is costing you more. So for that, tags are important, and that is from the billing and configuration dashboard. You can quickly go and configure it. It's always advisable to go and fill out all these information and save preference. Also in here, I have added a couple of external links which will help you to understand the best practices, how to go through this free tier and better utilize it, how to see the prediction for month on month, or how to see the forecast, and then other than this, how the services are performing in terms of usage, and then how to set up a budget so that when the budget is crossing, it should not be going after a threshold. So that's where a couple of things you can control from the billing and management perspective. Now the next thing is, what is AWS Regions? So AWS, as I told in my earlier video, that is a physical data center provided you virtually, and that is where they have lots of regions where their data centers are available. So some of the reasons, as you can see on my screen, I'm using US East for this purpose, for all these training and tutorial purpose. But yeah, you can go any of these centers and choose. And also there is one important thing, not all services are available across all the regions. Like I was working on one of the IVR related services, and I realized that is not available in India region or the Asia region. So for that, be uh, mindful when you are selecting any regions whether the services are available or not. And also when you're working on some of the healthcare related scenarios, you may need to go for US regions only because of HIPAA and other compliance. You cannot host this data outside US. So just look for that. And also regions are always important while to work with your audience. If your audience is mostly on the US side, you don't want to choose any Europe or Asia specific servers or the regions. And this is vice versa case if the audience is from the other regions, or if it is a global product, you need to make sure that the regions are synchronized, and you should be choosing multiple regions for that, for availability zones. Now, so this was all that I had to talk about, but other than this, in the next tutorials we are going to talk about in much more details. We are going to do hands-on exercises. So let me know any thoughts, any comments, any feedback, and do share with your friend so that this will be a good community of AWS engineers, that we should work together and we should learn from each other. Thanks for watching. Keep supporting.